Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 60 of Direwolf20's Let's Play. As you can see, just logging in here today, cleaning up some grass in this area. I want to do another little bit of a build. There's something I have in mind that I want to create here, and at first it might look a little weird, but I think in the end it's going to look pretty cool. So I'm just doing a little bit of a lawnmower thing here, cleaning up a bunch of junk, and maybe even get this guy out, and yeah, that looks good. Sweet. And it's already getting dark out, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and sleep through the night before I really get started. Let's make sure we get all this stuff that we're collecting here. Looking good. So I'll be back to start building something what'll hopefully be pretty cool in a bit. So guys, let's get started building some cool stuff. I happen to have a little bit of EMC in here, so I'm going to target glass and get myself a good handful of that. I'm going to need a bunch. I'm also going to need some items out of my miscellaneous junk chest. I'm going to start off with, let's go with some red stuff, some green stuff. Yeah, that looks cool. And let's go with some blue. Down here, lapis. That looks cool. I'm going to make sure my transmutation table knows about all these dyes, because remember I taught most of the dyes in my transmutation table way back, and then it got reset and unlearned. So yeah, green cactus dye is learned, and lapis was never learned. Interesting. Cool. Well, I'm ready to go. What I'm going to do is, and I moved my lens bench, so as you guys might have just guessed, I'm going to be building some stuff with lasers. So I'm going to need... I'm going to go start off with just a few of these. I'm going to get 2 red lasers. 1, 2. I'm going to get 2 green lasers. And unfortunately, these guys don't stack. And you can see they're basic, simple lasers. Blue, green, and red. Nothing too terribly fancy about them. And I'm going to get at least 2 white lasers as well. That sounds like it might be fun. And let's see. Get this out of here. There we go. Nice. And I'm going to need some rubies, which I might have in one of these bags somewhere. Except you guys know how good I am at finding stuff in my bags when I'm on camera. As in, I can never do it. But I guess I don't have any rubies on me. But that's alright. They're not hard to make. So let's get our requester tool and get ourselves a handful of... Well, don't have any pipes down. But I'll just grab some redstone. I'm going to need... Let's see... Oh, you know what I can do? Here we go. Target this guy, Klein star goes in, stack comes out. Sweet. And then I'm just going to get myself a handful of these rubies. 16 ought to do it, just because that's what I happen to have available. Cool. So let's go build something. How am I for smooth stone, by the way? I have enough for now. Let's go over here and start looking at what we can do with this stuff. So what I'm going to place down here is some smooth stone. And I'm going to place one right here and get out my drill, which is probably in my green bag, I want to say. Yeah, there it is. And drill into this face and place a red laser right here. Okay, so what that does, as you guys know, is when it receives a redstone signal, it's going to emit a red laser. Pretty darn simple and obvious, right? And even though it's a very low power red laser, it will hurt if I stand in it, though not much because I have a nice amount of armor on. But that's not the purpose of this laser. What I'm going to put down here is another laser. Well, yeah, let's put down another laser here, and we'll make this guy a green laser. So there we go. And remember, the green laser causes stuff to grow. Cool. Now the next type of block I want to place down right here and drill into it. Remember there was a bunch of different blocks that I told you guys about. Sensors and splitters and reflectors and all this other cool stuff that all do different neat things. But for what I want to do with this guy is set down what's basically going to be a reflector. And what this thing does is when you put a white lens on the face here, and send a laser into it, for example, a red laser, and I'm going to put glass on all sides, which means that all sides can receive If I took glass out of the top here, the top part wouldn't be able to receive, which is, not necessarily bad. Don't need it to. Nor do I need the bottom to receive a laser, but that's cool. And then I'm going to get another stick here and put this lever on. Now, this is the red laser, right? Look what this guy does, is the red laser goes into the side with the sensor on it, that thingy. And then, because it's a reflector style thing, right, this thingy, it's going to reflect the laser beam through that it receives on the side with the sensor and emits it out the front with the white thingy. So that's cool. Now we could also, if we really wanted to, let's see, if I put a white lens here, see what it does? Is it splits it both ways. So now notice it's a lot smaller, it's a lot shorter, because it's taking a laser that has a width or a length of 10 and splitting it in half with a length of 5. So one long beam longer than 2 split beams. So those are the different things you can do by building your own little laser system. A white lens is where it'll emit, and a green or a glass lens is where it'll come through. Now the interesting thing about this is that you can combine these two laser colors. So if I turn this guy off and turn this guy on, we've got a green laser, right? Right. Makes sense, because this is a green laser. Now what's the combination of green and red? Yellow. Ha-ha. And remember, yellow is what's going to brighten up a room and make things nice and bright, and they're cool. Now let's next turn this guy off and this guy off, and put down a, I'm going to pick this up as well while I'm at it. Put down my dirt block again. Sure, why not there? And place down another block right here and drill into it. And I'm going to place my blue lens right like so. Okay, and I should probably move this thing as well. Now if I put this thing back like so, and put down the lever, now it's sending a blue lens in when it receives this, and a purple, because blue and red make purple. Ooh, purty. And what do you think blue and green make? Dun dun dun. If I had any wood on me, which because I'm a noob I don't. What's the EMC value of a cookie, I wonder? Enough for wood, hooray! And I better get my Klein star out of there, remember that's a bug. So get ourselves some more sticks, and make another lever. And blue and green make cyan. And turn off the blue, or turn on the red as well, and you get a white laser. So, and look how long it goes. Whoosh! So what it does is it combines the length of all 3 lasers. So each of these have a length of 10, and all combined it becomes a length of 30, because 3 10s combined, 30, you get it. So turn off one, and well, there we go. That becomes yellow, because red and green make yellow. Turn this guy off, and we get just the green. Turn this guy on, we get blue, purple, red, yellow. Fun. Right? Neat. So let's see what we can do with these color things. Alright, so there's 2 items in the laser mod that I haven't crafted just yet. Those are the display tube and the display panel. Let's check these guys out. First off, we need a display tube, which is a ruby with some iron and some glass. Cool. Display tube. And then we're going to need a display panel, which is some glowstone with glass around it. And that gets us 8 display panels. Even cooler. Let's go outside and see what these guys do. What this thing does, very basically, is if you put it in the beam length of a laser, so let's put it like right here, and we put a, you can't place these things on the ground, but you can place them on display tubes, the little glass thing here. And I'm going to place it on all the sides just for now. Cool. Looking good, right? Now if I turn on my red laser, pretty. And if I turn on my green laser, ooh. And make it a cyan laser, you get the point, right? Right. It basically takes the color of the laser and displays it like a little pixel on a TV type of deal. So I'm going to break these sides off because I really only want it displaying on the front. So now we have a neat way to combine laser colors to get all different colors on this display tube. Very cool. Let's take it another step further. Alright, so you guys remember the colors here were that we had green, red, and blue were the primary colors, and then they would combine to form yellow, cyan, and magenta, the purplish color. So these are your basic combinations available, and then you can also get white if you combine all three beams. So what I'm going to do now is first make sure my transmutation table knows all these dye colors because I'm about to use a bunch of them. So I'm just making sure. I know it knows most of them, but like I said, just double checking. Cyan, yellow, and do you know magenta? You probably don't. See? He didn't know that one. Cool. And then I'm going to, using my crafting table. Where's my Philosopher's Stone? There it is. I'm going to get myself some wool of a matching color. So get myself some red wool and maybe put my red dye away. I only need one of each dye for this. And green wool, blue, cyan, yellow, and magenta. Cool. On to the next steps. The next steps being I just want to teach my transmutation table about all these different colors of wool. This way, by the way, going forward, I should be able to just place a single wool block in here and get out some more, or I can just throw my Klein Star Omega and target a wool block, and it should show me a bunch more. So let's get ourselves, I don't know, 11 more of each. So I'm going to need, there we go. Cool. Alright guys, so I cooked up some red alloy ingots here, and hopefully I've got enough. And I'm basically going to make a bunch of wires. So let's make something like this. I'm definitely going to need more of these, aren't I? I didn't actually sit down and think of it, I just said let's build a whole bunch, and yeah, I don't have enough. So I'll make some more of this in a few minutes here and be back, but you get the point, right? I'm basically making a wire for each color. And I'm making a good amount of them because I want to have a nice surplus. Cool. So I'll be back in a few once I've cooked up a few more wires. Alright guys, so just a couple more of these wires. There we go, magenta. And I got myself some extra of these guys. There's white. I want to get a few more whites, so let's do that right now. And these guys I'm going to use for another type of, I want some plain red alloy wire. I wanted to make sure I had some of that. Give me a minute, I'm going to wait for this stuff to cook up some more. Alright, so I'm getting myself a bit more of this white cabling here. And I don't think I've used this yet in this season, but this stuff is called bundled cables. And what they will do, pretty much, and I'm going to get one more, I can spare the white, is they will connect all the different colored cables individually. So let's go check out how we're going to do this. But there's one more component I need, and I'll be back once I've got it. So the final component of this build that I want to do is going to be called a null cell and a non-invert cell. There's also the invert cell, but I'm not going to use that, but maybe I'll just show you guys what it does for demonstration purposes. In order to build a null cell, I'm going to need some stone red wire, which is not the same as stone wire. Stone red wire is a stone wafer with red alloy wire on top, which is different than redstone being on top. So you can see I've requested some stone wafers here. Now I'm going to need a few of these null cells. I'm probably going to need a good amount. So why don't I just build a couple real quick on camera to show you guys, and then I'll come back with a few more that I craft between now and then. So I'm probably going to need more redstone wiring, but that's okay. I've got a bunch more stuff cooking up. And as you saw, the null cell here is crafted like this. Cool. Now the null cell, what this does is, let's assume, for the sake of argument, that you had some redstone wiring that you wanted to have running in this direction, right? And you could turn on your lever. So let's see. I had some levers on me at some point. Yep. You could turn on your lever here, and it would turn on and everything works like normal fine. Now let's say you also want to have some wiring going in this direction. Now if you turn this wire on, you've got a problem. It turns on both. I don't know if that's what you want to do or not. So let's go ahead and use what's called a null cell. And what this guy does basically is allows you to intersect your wires without them affecting one another. So they're a null cell because there's no effect between levels. So turn on this wire and it's completely separate from this wire. Sweet. So next up, we're going to have to create an invert cell, and this one I'm not going to be using at all, but I wanted to show it to you guys just so you have the full effect of the 3 different types of cells available in Red Power 2. The invert cell uses a plate assembly, and this is just one of those mid-level components. I'm going to need a stone cathode, so I'm going to need a couple of those. Let me request them. I'm also going to need some sticks, and I'll be right back. So as you guys saw, the recipe is some sticks, a red alloy ingot in the middle. Let's take care of that now. So sticks, red alloy ingot in the middle, cathode on the bottom, and I'm going to need 2 of these guys, so I might as well, I don't have enough sticks yet, but I'll do that in a minute. And then these guys like so. That's a plate assembly. You can't place it on the ground or anything like that, so it's not an item that gets dropped. It's just basically a component for building the invert and null state cells. And next up, let's get ourselves just a few more sticks here, and another one of these, because I'm going to need it again in a minute anyway. There we go. And why don't I get myself 10 of these guys. These guys. And if I do this with these guys in the corner here and a plate assembly in the middle, we get the invert cell. And if I do pretty much the same pattern, almost identical, but I instead place a cathode on the bottom here, we get the non-invert cell, and these guys are basically opposites of each other. So let's check out first the invert cell. Now there's an important thing to note here, so pay attention. You'll note first off that when the top wire is on, the side wires are off. So there you go. And when this wire, the side wire, right, so you can see there's one that goes through the middle and there's one that goes over the top. When you turn this on, it's an invert cell because it inverts the redstone signal between the bottom and the top. But it's really only that direction that matters. This direction does not. Now you could, of course, turn this on and then turn this on. But with this guy off, this guy doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Now the non-invert cell is pretty much the reverse of that. In that the bottom line controls both the bottom and the top, and the side one just controls the top. And of course you can use a screwdriver to reorient these things. So I'm going to be using a handful of null cells and non-invert cells. Invert cells, like I said, not necessary. Can even go throw it in my chest over here, and I'll be back in a bit when I have all the resources I need for this build. Alright, so if my memory serves me correctly, I have just built all the components I need for what I want to do here. And a spider's going to attack me and feel my wrath. Sorry, buddy. Hey, dude, you attacked me. I didn't start that fight. Maybe in 1.2 these enemies will be smart enough not to start fights with Direwolf. So, I want to run some cabling. So let's grab our levers here and remember exactly what we lined up. So that's the green path right there. And I'm using lasers that get drilled into the blocks because red alloy wiring will work with this. So let's do this. Okay. Now if I hook this lever up here, it turns on the green laser. Perfect. And what was this one? Blue. Okay. So let's run a wire here that hooks up to the blue wire. Now you'll note that because these are different colors, they don't connect like regular redstone wire would. Okay, but this wire right here is activating both blocks. That's a problem. So let's grab out of our red bag. What do you think we should do about that? Get some cover strips. Correct. Put a cover strip here. Boom. And now it's no longer affecting this block. This wire not affecting this block, which is why we're getting blue again. And we can turn on blue and green and get cyan. Cool. But we don't want to run these wires just like this. This is a little bit ugly. So instead, I'm going to knock all this off, and I'm going to get some of those bundled cables that I showed you guys earlier. Bundled cables will connect to all colors of cable, okay? But you don't wire them directly into a lever, okay? Instead, what you do is run your bundled cable like so, and run your cabling off of it. So if I got some blue and green here, okay, now this blue wire is going through the bundled cable, which contains all colors, and will activate down here, okay? And I could even, if I really wanted to, just to tighten this up a little bit, look at how cool that is. Okay, so let's turn the blue wire on, and it turns on the blue laser. Turn on the green wire, and it turns on the green laser, and turn both of them on, and it turns on the cyan laser. Super cool, huh? I like it. So of course, what do you think we're going to do next here? Next up, we want to get some red insulated wiring, and run it like so, straight to here. And we had green, and then blue. Now, of course, the red wiring here is going to have the same issue that we had a moment ago, so we need another cover strip. And then I can run over here with my bundled cabling another lever with some red wires. Okay, so now we've got green, blue, and red. And we can turn on the red and the green, we can turn on the red and the blue, and we can turn on the yellow, and you get the point. So many combinations, so much fun. Let's take it another step further. Alright, so you can see what I did here is basically run a few more cables like this, and I'm going to run the green, blue, and red cables just like so. I'm going to put red here, I'm going to put blue, and then green. And as you guys recall, these levers should all activate and do their respective lines. Red, blue, green, and blue and green make cyan, and red and blue make purple. Okay? But instead of putting levers here, okay, instead of that, I'm going to go ahead and place down some of my cells. So let's get our null cell and our non-invert cell going and ready to roll. And what I'm first going to hook up, probably right here, is my yellow wire. So check out how this is going to work. Okay, maybe I want to reorient this a little bit. Nah, it should be fine. So the yellow laser, what's yellow? Yellow is a combination of red and green, right? So if I place down a non-invert cell here, like that, okay, what that's going to do is, because it's a non-invert, when the signal is going through the bottom, it's also going to go through the top. So check this out. Signal's going through the bottom, it's also going through the top, the red line there. Okay. Next, I'm going to place down a null cell. A null cell means that whatever has happened is separate. We don't care. So signal going through the bottom doesn't do anything to the top. And then finally, I'm going to place down another non-invert cell right here on the green line. So what's going to happen is redstone signal going through the bottom will also go through the top, activating red. Redstone signal going through the bottom will not go through the top, so blue won't turn on. And then redstone signal going through the bottom will also activate green. So the yellow line here now emits a yellow signal, because red and green equal yellow. Sweet. Okay, let's do a cyan one next. Sure, why not? So my cyan laser is just going to go right next to this guy, and that is simply we're going to use non-invert cells on blue and green, and a null cell on red. Lever, go. Cyan, yellow, magenta? Sure, why not? Same deal. A non-invert cell on red and blue, and a null cell on green. Lever, magenta, cyan, magenta. That's fun, isn't it? Now, if I want to do white, which I am going to go ahead and do, I'm going to need 3 non-invert cells, because I want all 3 to get turned on. So why don't I go make myself 3 more non-invert cells? Did I bring the ingredients? I think I did. So let's see real quick. I'm going to need 3 plate assemblies, sticks. Ooh, I need some redstone. Where's my trans table? Target redstone. Darn. I think I put away my Klein star. See, this is what happens when you have inventory issues. But, I'm used to it. So Klein star, let's just get ourselves 6 of these. There we go, plate assemblies. And I'm also going to need 4 times 3 is 12. Happen to have just enough of this stuff. Plate assemblies and stone cathodes and... Wow. Remember when I said I had just enough? I lied. I'll be right back. Let me go get the reagents I need. Let's make a quick detour into our equivalent exchange room while we're here and just see how we're doing with red matter. I'm going to pull some out here, and that should signal the stuff to start resupplying. Now, of course, I could change the supply pipe to request more than 64 redstone, but I feel like it's a good number. Oh yeah, we've definitely got enough. I'm probably not going to divert right now, but next episode, I'm going to have some cool stuff to build with all this red matter and EMC that I've accumulated. Yeah, definitely. Looking good. And how's my Klein star charge? It's doing all right. Got some redstone hanging out in there. Let's burn it up. I don't need to worry about it. Cool. Looking good. Okay, so I ran and just grabbed some out of a requester pipe real quick. Put these guys down here, and where's that cathode? Cool, non-invert. Perfect. So the non-invert cells, all 3 of them combined, with my white insulated wiring, should send a signal to all 3. Why do I always have so much trouble with these wires? So cool, look at that. Purple, blue, yellow. And you're probably right now saying, but Direwolf, how do I get red, green, and blue again? Well, that's really not hard. I'm just going to run some red insulated wire here, and you could really use any wiring you'd want. You don't need to use the same colors, of course, because it's really not important. But remember what I said about these cells, is the bottom line dictates what happens on top, but the top line is completely independent and has nothing to do with the bottom line. So, if I run some redstone wiring into the side of here and turn it on with a lever, we get just a red line, because this guy is activating completely separate from the other cables. So there you go. I'll come back in the daytime. So the finale of this system is really pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and put the blue cabling like so, and the green cabling like so. And because these are different colors, remember, they don't connect, and I'll need 2 more levers. And I could really wire this however I want. I put it out here like in the open just so you guys could all see it, nice and pretty like, but there you go. So blue, green, red, white, magenta, cyan, and yellow. How cool is that? And this thing can act as kind of a little display here, so if I want a yellow, I get yellow. Now this would be a great way to set up a alert system for your nuclear reactor. You could simply say when the reactor's at a certain, when it's off, it's in blue. Reactor's off, nothing's going on. And then have a redstone signal applied here when the reactor's running, but at a nice cool temperature. Everything's good. It's starting to get warm, make it yellow. And when it's reaching critical heat, make it red. And you could even do something else for a cooldown cycle, like cyan, if you had a cooldown cycle. And you could really, if you wanted to, pulse your signals if it's, you know, getting really too hot. You can do whatever you want. So this is a neat way to set up a whole bunch of different colors on one little panel. Really a lot of fun. Now I'm pretty sure those are the only combinations available, unless I missed something. There's no orange lasers, there's no, a bunch of the other colors available in Minecraft aren't here, but this is a great way, like I said, to set up a nice simple set of levers, all in a row, to control your color of your laser. So I think this is a good wrapping up point for episode 62 of Direwolf20's Let's Play Season 3. I hope you guys enjoyed checking it out. Stay tuned for 63. I want to build something with this. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't exactly decided what I want to do yet. Like, I want to take advantage of the fact that you can do multiple colors with it, and, you know, something neat. Maybe post something in the comments, and if there's anything in the comments that's like a really good idea. I don't want it to be too crazy complicated, like, you know, like a million blocks wide and like a TV screen type thing. That would just be way too out of control. But, you know, maybe post some comments and see if you have some ideas on what I could build with this thing, and I'll check them out and see what happens. Maybe I'll wait until 64 to actually do the build and wait for your comments. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Take it easy.